We'll begin today in mountain pose, so we move into what we'll call Vata Vinyasa. So because it's the season of Vata, quickly moving into the winter season of Kapha, but it's still October. So it'll be a slow flow. We'll keep moving. Let's just roll the shoulders out for a moment. Check into your neck, move it around. So range of motion each morning. Maybe take one arm a little bit further around. So we want to keep those joints lubricated through range of motion. Vata energy is air and space, and it does have a tendency, if it's your constitution, tendency towards dryness. So you might have dry skin or dry joints, a tendency towards arthritis. You really want to keep lubricated. Drink lots of water, eat your good oils, oil from the inside out as well as the outside in. Little Abhyanga self-massage is a great option, especially for Vata or during this Vata time. Okay, there's the shoulders warmed up. Take your feet a little bit wider, hands on the rim of the pelvis. Let's just circle around the pelvis. Feel the relationship of thigh bone to hip socket. And as you're doing this, you're checking in, asking your body how it's feeling today, what's going on in particular. And acknowledging your breath. Other direction. And then bring it into center. Step your feet right underneath your pelvis. Draw up and nice and tall through your spine. Feet are grounded. Head is lifted. Nice full deep breath in. Fill your lungs completely. Pause and then empty all the way. In through the nose, out through the mouth again. Ha. One more time, knowing that ha breath relaxes our nervous system. Spin the head of the humerus out. Take the arms up, inhaling through the nose. Grab a wrist. And then exhale through the nose or the mouth, whatever feels best to you. Inhale to center. Feel the evenness in shoulders, hips, and heels. And then other side. Exhale. Inhale. Find evenness in your alignment. Hands sweep out to the side and come right onto the rim of the pelvis. Let's inhale. Take the arm bones up and back. And then arch with a nice deep breath in, opening the heart. And then coming to neutral, sink back. Your feet are pretty narrow, so hands on thighs. Gently curl in, let all your breath go. Squeeze the front body to open the back body. Come up halfway, lengthening from crown of head to tailbone. And then exhale, squeeze all the breath out. Lift the head and the heart, come all the way up. Let's side bend again. Flowing with the breath, inhale, taking the time. The longer the breath, more time you have in the form. Exhale. Release the neck and jaw tension if it's there. Come back to center. Sweep the arms out. Bring them right to your hips, pushing down from hip to heel, opening the heart, opening the throat. Bend the knees, hinge forward, keeping the belly toned. Pull in. Halfway up, inhale. And back down. So pressing into the earth. So we're going to feel that balance of being steady and strong as well as light and free, similar to what we did on our last practice. So feeling that support and that freedom. One more time, hands to the hips. Opening the front body, squeeze those shoulder blades, open the throat, and then all the way down. Maybe this time touch the ground. Halfway up, back body strong. And then down you go. All the way up. This time the hands come together and then right down through center into your heart. Take a breath in and out. Notice what you're feeling. We're going to take it up again and move into a little moon salutation. So rise up, take the side bend. Oh, I love those. Back up to center, nice and even, and exhale. Then as you come to center, step wide. Turn the palms up, biceps up, come down deep into a squat. And we're going to repeat this. So inhale, star, exhale, goddess. You might add a little mudra, bringing your first finger and thumb together. This is where you can work the wrists a little bit too. So squeeze in and open up. Exhale through the mouth or the nose. Inhale through the nose. Pressing through the heels and hugging the legs towards each other, even as you're lowering down. So as you're coming down, hug the heels in. One more time, take it down into goddess, pause, chest open, and then little pulses. Push through the heels, squeeze, squeeze, waking up those hips. You can do out through the mouth or the nose. Little fire breath. And then sink deep. Rise up. Hands to the pelvis. Swivel your pelvis to your right. Your back foot turns. Your front foot turns. Right arm comes up and we come into our triangle. So we rotate from the pelvis. Hand to shin. Roll the chest open. Maybe the arm comes up. Push into the back heel to lengthen the spine. Breathe deeply and evenly. Imagine your body, 5-pointed star on its side. Energy flowing from your core to the periphery. One more deep breath here. And then releasing the top arm, come up a bit so you can swivel your torso, maybe bend the front knee, hands down, but we're going to stay on both feet, possibly walk your front foot, your right foot more to the right, and then go into pyramid. Now, I didn't have you get your blocks, and I'm sorry about that, but you might want those blocks under your hands. So you're going to fold forward over that leg, and then the hips are squaring, so bring your left hip forward, right hip back. How much you stretch into that hamstring is up to you. One more breath. Then we'll shift our weight off the back foot. Back heel comes up, squares, steps back, and you lower onto your knee. Okay, pushing down into your back shin and your front heel, hands to thigh. Let's open the hips, squaring them to the short end of the mat. Choose to leave your hands on your your thigh, or bring them to your hip, or take them overhead. So just giving that gentle opening to the front body. Notice how much effort you're putting into the movement. Let your breath be steady and deep. One more breath here, and then we're going to bring the hands down inside the front leg. Okay, shift your weight so you can come high in your hips, back knee off the ground, and then swivel forward, facing the long edge of the mat. Your toes are facing the long edge, and then bending your right knee. Take your sitting bones back and up, and ease down into your lunge. Side lunge, getting the inner thighs. Sink into that, and feel your breath moving in your body. Inhale to center, keeping the belly toned, walk to the other side, lunging. So heart is lifted, belly is toned, sitting bones drawn up for lumbar curve, and then ease into the hip joints and your inner right thigh. Then we're going to turn towards the short of the mat. So lighten up the hips. The hips come up so you can move more easily. Sinking down. So again, here's my blocks. If you want blocks, you can have blocks in your hand. Ground or hands to the thigh, hips, or overhead. We're going to do this a couple of times, so just feel your options. One more breath here, big lengthening on the side body, and then releasing. Hands on either side of the foot. And then sometimes I bring my front foot back. It's easier to step up. A more narrow stance, both feet ground for pyramid, hips square, front knee might have to bend, but you're working towards straightening it. So really opening that front hamstring, pelvis is square, and you are lengthening the muscles along your back spine. Transitioning into triangle, again, bend the front knee. I like to step wider for my triangle, bringing my left hand next to my left foot, and then open up belly, ribs, and chest. Okay, steady lower body, maybe the top arm raises. Feel that alignment, adjust if you need to. And really engaging the muscles to the bone. So from the soles of your feet, you're hugging in and up. The muscles hug the bone. The legs hug towards each other. We meet at the center of the pelvis with that energy of the legs, and then express openness in the heart. Then rise up with lightness through that upper body. Toes turn to the long edge of the mat or slightly outward, and drop into goddess. Sink deep. Now as you come up, feel the core strength at your abdomen, because this time as you come up, you're going to step to your right from center. Good. And then side bend. Inhale, center. Exhale, other side. Keep it firm through the legs. Inhale, center, and step back out into goddess. Turn the heels in a bit. Down we go. Bottoms up, so you're not tucking the tail. And this time as you lift, turn to your left. Okay, hands wherever you want them, sliding down into triangle. Here's now we have the blocks or the shin, whatever works. Roll open the chest, expand. Nice deep breaths here. And then as you exhale, we're going to swivel down. Maybe take the other block, or maybe lift up. So you can really turn the torso and from the pelvis and the shoulders, and down you go into your forward fold pyramid. Shifting your weight slightly forward, take the back heel off the ground and lower the knee. Crescent Moon lunge, press into the earth, rise up, hands on the thigh, hips are overhead. One more deep breath in, then exhale, bring the hands to the inside. If you're using bricks, you can bring the bricks on the inside. And then we lift up and walk forward. The feet turn, and then ease into your inner right thigh. Press down. Come up through center, strong and steady, and over to the other side. Stretching to the inner left thigh, keeping the torso lifted. And then turning towards the short end of the mat, move methodically, carefully. We drop down onto the knee, ground, and open into Crescent Moon. So the moon was so incredibly beautiful last night. I got some amazing photos. I think they're amazing. I've only seen them on my phone so far, but it was shining through my kitchen window. What a beautiful moon. It's going to be a full moon on Halloween. Let's lift the hips up. A little shorter stance for pyramid. A full blue moon, no less. So get your witch hats out. Let's celebrate. When you're ready, step back, press into the foundation, and then rise up. Notice the energy of rising. Make it light. With your next inhalation. Here we go. Big opening, toes come forward into goddess. Come up and down. And then we're going to shift to the left. Finding that center, side bend. Center, other side. Center, now bringing the hands to the heart. Keep the heart lifted and your feet are fairly close together. We're going to come back into Utkatasana. So as you come back, watch that your knees stay behind your toes, bottom up, and then see if you can get your elbows to your knees. Okay? And look to see that your knees are in line with your mid-toes. If you need to go a slightly wider, please do that. Pressing into your elbows or your forearms. Pull your chest forward. If it's better to have your hands, that's okay too. Let's sit way back in the heels and really feel the glutes awaken. So push into maybe one heel and then the other, waking up the glutes, toning the belly, and then take the arms up, toning the backside. Maybe lift the heart a little bit more, pushing into the heels. Now, a little bit of pulsation just to feel the awakening of the glutes and the hamstrings. Then pushing down and squeeze the muscles coming up. Big opening. And then bring the hands together. I'm going to come down again. Same thing. Drop in. And then this time we're going to create a little twist. So if the elbows touch and your head is above your hips, that's important. So you want your bottom way up here. Otherwise, put your hands down. And we're going to twist. So bring yourself over, left hand to right knee, or left elbow, just depending on your body. And then we turn from the waistline through the rib cage. The hips stay square. So squeeze into the twist. If you want, you could pulsate in the hips a little bit or just hold it steady. 3 more breaths. Squeezing into your soft body inside that belly. 1 more breath. Unwind. Push into the heels. Pull up on the quadriceps. Lift through the belly. Take the arms open. Breathe. Hands together, right back down. We have another side to do. So pause, either hands or elbows. And then split the hands or bring the elbow over. Again, head above the hips. Twisting perhaps in that Anjali Mudra or the splitting of the arms. Now, make sure you can check to know, you'll know if your hips are level if your knees are in line. If your right knee's sliding forward, pull that right hip back. Squeeze into it. And then come back to center. Pull up on the bottom. Unhinge from the hips. Take it up. And right back to center. Step a little bit wider apart, just about shoulder width apart. Draw the arms out in a T. Okay. Then turn the palms up. And one more time, we're going to go back down to a big wide squat. Push back. And then this time, hands to the shins. Take it into forward fold. Hands on anywhere on the shin that supports you. Some of you might reach the floor comfortably. Tucking the chin deep to the throat. So giving a little squeeze to the thyroid, parathyroid glands. Squeezing into the front body, giving a squeeze to those belly organs and opening the back. And then sliding the hands up the shins just above the knees. Bend the knees a bit, not quite Utkatasana. Lift up part way, pause, and let your breath go. Then come all the way up. Bringing the hands down center. So let's turn and face the long edge of the mat. If you want your bricks, I'm actually going to go this way because I have my pack on that side. And find your mountain pose. Arms can go out to the side or forward and up. Hands then come to the heart and we hinge forward. So a more narrow Uttanasana. Now our feet are hip distance apart. And then we're going to step 1 foot back and then the other. Now I'm still on my blocks, but this is kind of fun to do. We're going to come into plank if you, with or without the blocks. And then you're going to just dip a little, push up, lower the knees, and then open the chest. So Susan, careful of the weight in your hands. We're dropping the chest forward and really opening through the hips and the torso. And then we'll pull back. And just for this first one, We'll go back towards the heels. I have to cross my ankles to protect my knee. And you can push up on the wrist joints, lowering the head. With next inhalation, rise to all fours. You can take it again off the mat, but this time lift the hips high. So, stepping the feet, heels up, knees bent, bottoms up, tone the belly, and then reach back with the hips and forward with the hands. So it's kind of interesting doing down dog with blocks under your hands. It does give your chest a little more space. And what's really nice is as we bend the knees and look forward, shift your weight forward, sometimes it's just easier to get the feet back up to the front of the mat, opening into a half forward fold. And then down we go. Hands to the hips or out to the side, unhinge, and right back into center. Take a breath or two. And let's do that again. So with or without the blocks, something new. Inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Halfway up. And then keeping the gaze and the heart up, step back into your plank, shift the weight forward, and then either just stay right here, that might be easier on your wrist, Susan, or do a little dip, push up, lower the knees. Now really melt the heart. Open the chest, then take it back, and you can choose to go back into child or come into down dog for 5 deep cleansing breaths. Let your body choose and breathe deeply and evenly. Fill up all the way, empty all the way. Exercise your lungs. One more breath in and out. Then you're going to hold your breath out as you look up and step up. Then you can inhale as you rise into half forward fold. And exhale into forward fold. Inhale, coming to standing, arms overhead. Exhale, back to center. 3rd time's a charm. Take it up, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Halfway up. And then step back. Still looking forward. Bring your weight into your plank. Possibly dip. And then open the heart. Squeeze those shoulder blades. Take child with wrist release or downward dog. And then focus on the breath. 5 deep cleansing breaths. Empty out all the way. And fill up. Choose to breathe out through the nose or the mouth. Definitely breathe in through the nose. As you exhale this last time, exhale all the way. Hold your breath comfortably. Look forward. Step your feet forward. And then inhale halfway up. Back body strong. Exhale all the way down, back body long. And then unhinge. And bring your hands back to center. Exhale. Breathing in and breathing out. Now turn towards the long edge of the mat again. Stepping wide. Let's release the hands for you, Susan. Interlace the fingers. Bring the elbows in close. And then split the wrists apart. So the wrists are about 90 degrees. And then circle, make little circles with the wrists. Meanwhile, the legs are steady and strong. Don't forget the legs just because we're working on the wrists. Other direction. Good. Then shake them out. All right. Now bringing the movement into the hips. Swiveling, we'll swivel to, I'm going to take my blocks over to the right, your right, okay? and swivel the pelvis and the feet. We're going to go for warrior 2 and some lunging action. So choose the distance so that as you come into the pose, that back leg, remember we press the foot and pull the ankle to the bone. Really hug that ankle in. I guess the ankle is a bone. Hug the ankle at midline. And then allow your knee. Now, just be careful on this. Really push into your heel. That's the key. Is heel grounded and your glute, your right glute firm to protect the knee. You can even put your hand there to help that knee stay open so it doesn't collapse. And then we got to drop deep onto your left hip, dropping into your left inner thighs. So I'm going to go wider. Sometimes wider is actually easier, so try that on a little bit. Okay, reaching back. Now, we're going to start to straighten this knee, but I want you to come from your core. So lift by hugging your legs together. And the same thing as you're lowering, still hugging the legs in. So you're not collapsing into it. We're hugging in, squeeze together. I'm just doing this with my arms to exaggerate, but it's kind of fun. Inhale, lower. Right into that stretch point. Squeeze together. Should feel your glutes working. Inhale and protect that knee and squeeze. Look over the right fingertips now. Inhale. Exhale without locking that front knee. Inhale. Exhale. In and out. Now this time we're going to stay into the lunge. Pause. Keep breathing. Lower into the lunge as much as you can, keeping the legs hugging towards each other. Chest wide open. One more breath. Then pull together. Bring it back to center. Okay. Take the right arm up, left arm down. Stretch that front side, that right side body. Okay. Now we're going to lunge again for side angle. We already did triangle, so we're going to sink into the lunge. And then just like triangle, we're going to hinge forward just a bit to get into the depth of that groin and sink into your lunge. You can choose to have a block under your hand or leave your forearm on your thigh, but let's make sure we're lifting up out of that lower shoulder. And then take the top arm and swivel it, bicep to ear, and really stretch through the top side. Here you can even pulse a little if you like that action, or you can just stay deep in the lunge. Maybe turn the gaze up, chin coming in towards the throat to stretch the right side neck. Good. Now from here, we're going to start to lift so we can turn. Here we are turning again like we did in Moon Salutation. Use your blocks to the floor. Let your back heel come up. Okay. Bring it in a little more and draw into a lunge. So again, the front heel super grounded. The back leg now really lifted from the thigh. Square the pelvis. Option to do this from a low lunge. Push in. And then lift your belly and find your balance. Anchor the front heel, squeeze the front glute, lift the back thigh. Just find balance. This is it. Reach forward, pull down. One more. Place the hands down, release the back knee down. Toes to the earth, and then taking the hips towards the back knee. We're going to stretch into the front leg. Maybe bring your front toes off the floor and give a little love to your calf muscles, as well as your hamstring and your glutes. Then coming forward. Now this is going to be similar, different. Bring your hands inside the leg. And then here, watch this. You're going to walk your hands to the long edge of the mat and then flip your back foot off the long edge of the mat. Okay, so now you're facing forward. Okay, and from here, we're going to stand up on the back knee. Good, so get yourself aligned. And then you can walk that right leg out, or you can keep it slightly bent. Right hand to hip. We're going to keep that knee open. Okay. And then we're going to round over it. So like side angle, but we're really letting the body round. So you could have your forearm on your leg, or you could go for the ankle. This is called Gait Pose. Okay. You can choose to bend that front knee, that right knee, or start to straighten it, which is pulling this hip back. If your neck is tight, you might prefer to look down, opening that side body, top arm, which is your left on hip, or overhead, or all the way next to your ear. This is the gait position. I'm not quite sure. I think it's the bars on the gate. So breathe into that top side. And breathe. Bringing the chin towards that right collarbone. Take your left hand to your hip. Slowly come up. Okay. We're going to hinge forward, back to the floor or the blocks. Turn the foot in, and then we're going to walk our hands or our blocks over to the side. So I'll go without blocks, and we're going to open the other way. So now the foot comes underneath us again and is facing the back foot. Reach it up, stretch, and the more you put your support. Now, Susan, you're going to be really light here. Come maybe even up on your fingertips, so you're not bending your wrists. That might feel better. Okay, really pushing into the hand to lift the hips. If your wrist does not bother you, you could stay here and really lift that right hip and maybe unweight your left knee. And come into Vashisthasana. Maybe not if your wrist doesn't want to do that. So choose your form and breathe. Then we'll all turn towards the ground. The right knee, or left knee is down for you. Come on to all fours and pull back towards child, popping the heel of the hands up. Curl in. Give a good squeeze to your belly. And then come up to all fours, toes under, take it up to down dog. And then we're going to just transition. Knees bent, walk your hands to your feet rather than your feet to your hands. Find your Uttanasana. Hands to the pelvis. Tone the belly, unhinge all the way up. And breathe. Let's face the long edge of the mat again and take it wide. So now our blocks are over there on the other side. So we move from the pelvis, we turn towards the left, the legs turn left for warrior 2 to begin. Push firmly into the back heel, turn the torso, level the pelvis, and then push that knee. So this right hip might have to come more forward to keep that knee right over the ankle. Draw back through your left arm to keep yourself upright. Sink down. The left arm floats. And then we're going to lift from our center. Hug everything in. And then we're going to sink down, easing our way into the form. Exhale. Inhale. So come up by lifting your right hip and hugging your legs together rather than pushing from your bent knee. Lift away. Inhale. Exhale. If you want to just hold the pose, that's okay too. And then we're all going to hold the pose for a few breaths. Drop in. Sink into those hips. Open the heart. Breathe deeply and evenly. So remember, we're lifting from center. As we come up, we hug to midline. Straighten the legs without locking. Your left arm goes up, your right arm goes down. Stretch between the two. Okay. The front knee bends again, which is now your left. Drop into your lunge. Then we're going to bring the forearm down. Bottoms up. Get the sitting bones up. That'll allow you to hinge deeper. And then either pull up out of the shoulder or use your block. Really lengthen that arm. Okay, top arm. Swivel it around. Now breathe into that top side body. Again, hand on the block, the floor, or the forearm. Notice what's happening in the neck and shoulders. Okay, so you refine the movement to create ease. From here, we're going to take it around. Back heel lifts. Bring your blocks if you're using them so you can come into a lunge. High lunge. And get the distance between your feet just right so you can feel strong and steady in the lower body. Then tone the belly so the weight of the torso is light, and then the arms come up. And we just breathe. Now you could also reach forward and pull back. In and out. In and squeeze. Pausing there. Hands come down. We lower the back knee and we take it into a little stretch. Okay, breathe there. And then we move towards our gait. So the hands come inside. Torso comes forward and your back foot, your right foot goes off the back of the mat. You want to have your left heel lined up with your right knee. Pushing down, sink your weight back so you can easily stand up. Okay. Left hand to thigh. So you can keep this quite bent if that feels more comfortable to you. And then we let the spine round, as opposed to what we did in side angle where the spine stays neutral. We're going for lateral flexion here. You can straighten this leg if you'd prefer. It's more traditional. So try things on. Chest stays open. So I'd rather see you up higher with open chest. Top arm option. All kinds of options. What's going to serve you to open your chest and that side body. Okay. This is more traditional, bringing the top arm parallel to the ground. Aparigraha, gait pose. Then drawing the top arm up, push down to rise up. Okay, let's bring the toes in, and then you push the bottom back to bring the hands to the blocks of the floor. And you walk over, and you take your back foot, your right foot, and now you turn it to face the other foot. So you want to line up, arch and toes and knee. Your left hand will be, which is it? No, your right hand will be outside the knee. Don't line up in a row or you won't be able to balance. And then open it up. So you could be on the block if you want. It makes a lot of opening in the upper body. I'm going to shift to the earth. Okay, pressing down. Shoulder blades together. Okay. And then hold that and play around, or lifting so much that you can take the bottom knee off. Let's meet in all fours. Come back towards child. Pop the heel and hand off, especially for the hand you just bounced on. And then here we're going to come to all fours and go into, I'm just shifting my clothing here a little bit, sorry. Rabbit pose with Jackrabbit ears, if you can get them. So if head comes to the floor, hands come behind your back, interlacing the fingers. Try and get the palms of your hands together at first. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Elbows bent, not straightening the arms like I did say jackrabbit ears, right? But let's bend the elbows first and slide the elbows towards your head. Then from there, break the wrist, meaning flex the wrist 90 degrees. So now you're stretching the wrists. And then you start to straighten the arms. So with all that said, just go in and notice like those little incremental adjustments you can make. If the elbows are soft, easier to move into your shoulders. Once you get the wrists going, then you can start to straighten the arms. Meanwhile, you're upside down and squeezing your front body. And releasing the hands on that next breath. Slide them next to your head, keeping your chin into your throat. Slowly bring the head away from the floor. Just helps with your blood pressure. Step your knees hip distance. Slide your hands forward to your shoulders. And then lift the head. Come into a little cow position. Back body sinking. Then cat. Maybe pop the heel of the hands up. Do that twice more with your breath. This time as you open, reaffirm that strength in the front body so you're more neutral. Curl your toes under, taking the knees off the ground. Walk your hands to your feet. Bending the knees as you go. Hands to shins and pushing into the legs to straighten them as you draw your heart forward. Ardha Uttanasana. Forward fold Uttanasana. And then all the way to standing. Take a breath, enjoy it. And then we're going to turn towards the long edge of the mat again and go wide. Now you might want your blocks next to that right foot. So check that. I'm checking my clock. All right. We're going to stay wide here. Not as wide as triangle. It's going to be a revolve, so we're going to do some twisting, okay? We start with a lesser twist and go into a deeper twist, okay? Know that you're twisting from your navel to your neck, not your hips, okay? Because your lumbar spine does not actually twist like your thoracic and cervical spine do. So let's feel into that. So taking your hips to the right, your back foot comes quite a bit around. So you're going to try and swivel your hips to get them square to the short edge of your mat. Okay. Then pushing firmly into the back leg. Supercharge the back leg. Feel it lift you and take your left hand to your right hip. And then you're going to gently twist your rib cage to your right. Or to your back arm, whatever side it is. And even the head. So you're turning gently in the neck, right up against that first point of resistance. Notice how that twist feels. Now turn your gaze forward off the short end of the mat, or you can see what I'm doing. I'm pushing into the back heel. I'm going to crease deeply into that front groin, keeping my back hip coming forward. So I'm now hinging over the leg. You could put your hand on the thigh, or if you are open enough, you could put your hand on the block. I'm stepping a little wider, so I'm a little lower. From here, again, it's from the rib cage that you turn, not the pelvis. So keep your left hip drawing back, lengthen your right hip drawing back. And then your whole side body, that's becoming the top side of your torso, your right side, I believe. You're lengthening it. Make sure you're not pinching at your waistline. You could look down to leave the neck out, or you can turn evenly around the neck. Notice if you're crunching one side or the other. Try and keep spaciousness between the shoulders and the ears. One more breath. And then unwind Bend the front knee, bringing your hands either to the floor or the block, and then take your back heel off the ground and come into a lunge. So again, block or floor. So some of you might be down here, some of you might be here. Push, draw up through the back thigh, and then sink the front leg. So come into a high lunge, steady and strong. Lift the belly, ribs, and chest. Okay, that's why the block helps. Take the hand to the hip again as we just did in triangle. At this time we're in a lunge and we're twisting again. See that your back hip, the one that your hand's on, is directly behind your heel. It's not pushing out. Give a good squeeze. Squeeze your shoulder blades. Relax the neck. And then come back around. Hands on the floor of the block. Lift your hips, step your back foot up so you can ground it. And again, into our pyramid, which is a gentle forward fold. Front knee could be bent or straight, depending on your hamstrings. Now looking up, bring your hands slightly forward of your front foot. Bend that front knee and step your back leg up. Come up halfway. Get your grounding, lengthen the spine, hands come onto the legs, fold in, and unhinge. Hands back to the heart. Breathe. So let's give ourselves those hugs on the other side. So we're going to face the long edge of the mat. Take the bricks over to your left if you're using them. I hope the left-right thing is working for you. Kind of tricky when we're twisting. So we want to turn the hip bones to face the short end of the mat. So we have to step the feet narrow enough to make that happen. The back leg super anchored, quad engaged, lift and lengthen. And then take the hands across. So now you're reaching, the hips are staying towards the short edge, and you start to turn from your waist, your ribs, your chest opens, your shoulder blades lift your chest, and your head comes around. Now you could even pulsate this a little bit, right? Squeezing into that twist. Helps with refinement. This is a modified Revolve triangle without the forward bend. This is a nice one to sneak in throughout the day. You don't even have to have your legs this wide. But this is setting us for stage 2. Here we have the twist. Now we're going to add the forward bend. So you're going to crease deeply. Sitting bones are rising. You're turning the chest open behind you. Choose hand on shin or block. Almost fell over. It's a little balancing. Push into those legs and feel the chest open. So your lower hand could be on the inside of the foot if you want. Final version is to the outside of the foot. And then the top hand we didn't do on that side could come up if your shoulders are stacked. But if your top shoulder is more forward, it really doesn't serve you to take the arm up. Be better to just work from the shoulder girdle. One more breath. And then we're going to square off. So exhale, come around, bend the front knee, and bring your weight forward so you can get that back heel off the ground for high lunge. You could do a low lunge if you prefer, and I'll do that this time. So you're pushing high lunge or low lunge. Your front hand stays down, and then you do the same thing. You twist open. Okay, you might play with that arm as well. So high or low lunge, make the twist count. Then bring yourself back around, square off, lower the back knee. Let's step back. Release. We're going to do it differently. Release onto all fours. Hands grounded. Oh, Susan, there goes the wrist again. Let's pull off the wrist and then open. and off the wrist and open. From here, we're going to come to the ground. I'm going to step my knees back a little because I know when I come forward, that'll give me more space. From here, arms come out wide, thumbs across from the chest, mid-chest, and the head down. Bring the feet shoulder width apart. Face the kneecaps to the earth. Now charge the legs. Spread the toes. Push the feet into the earth. Press the knees into the earth. Tone the belly. Let the elbows rise up so you're just on your fingertips. Draw the shoulder blades towards each other. And then lift from your belly, ribs, and chest away from the ground, and then flow back down. So let's flow in and out a little bit. See if you can tuck the chin and lift more from the belly, then the ribs, then the throat opens. You can maybe shift the position of your hands. Some of you might like your hands flat. Notice where you can attend to the fluidity of your spine. Moving into that lower back. One more time, up and down with your breath. And then draw your arms forward off the short end of the mat. And look up, so your arms are forward. Okay. Drag your elbows underneath your shoulders. Okay. Or slightly more forward if this is too much in your back. The broader the feet, the more space there is for the pelvis to come into anterior tilt. And your sacrum has room to drop. Press into the hands. Pull back isometrically so your shoulders move back and your heart moves forward. Now lengthen from the base of the skull. And then let's just circle through the neck a little bit. While we're giving that lumbar curve, kind of rest into the spine. Let go of any unnecessary efforts. You can soften the legs a bit as long as that feels safe in your back. Other direction with the neck. Chin to throat, pause. And then again, lift the heart, lift the head. Press into the hands, give a little more lift if that feels okay. It depends on your body. And then elbows come down, hands come underneath like a pillow. And we drop in and just breathe into our lower back. So what I'd like you to get a sense of is as you inhale, let your lower back really blossom, soften, rise. And as you exhale, relax it. As your back is blossoming, so is your belly. So feel your body moving in two directions. Belly towards the earth and back to the sky. Expanding on that inhalation. And then sinking towards each other on the exhalation. Turn your head to the other side. One more breath here. Nice. Bringing the head up, slide the hands next to your heart, walk your feet in a little, your legs in more so you can push into the feet. Peel up off the ground. Okay. Walk forward on your mat. Bring your legs around in one way or the other. Okay. And make sure you have a block available. I hope you have a block. You could use a bolster too, but we're going to do some bridging and some deep opening there and also some shoulder work, okay? So let's do this first. Before we go down, let's bring the soles of the feet together. Now, sometimes for me, I prefer to even sit up on a block for this pose. That's what my hips like anymore. So maybe a blanket, maybe a block, maybe nothing, but let the knees open. Let's either hold under the thighs or at the top of the shin to pull the heart up and bring that spine into length. You can adjust the distance of heels to hips. Find that just right spot. And then you want to get a sense of rocking your pelvis forward onto the front of your sitting bones. So your lower back's pulling in. Getting a little bit of an extension even is fine. And then keeping that forward action on the sitting bones, drop the chin. And wherever your hands are, flare the elbows and round the upper back and curl in. So you're still rocking forward on your sitting bones. You're letting your thoracic spine round. You might want to take your hands more forward. Play around with where you put your arms, maintaining openness around the neck. Ease up into your point of resistance. Go for the stretch point without overdoing. One more full deep breath in and out. So either backing off slightly or maybe your body wants to go a little deeper. Use your hands for support to slowly rise up. Okay. Holding the knees, help them come together and then straighten them out in front of you. Hands next to your sides. Now if you're in a block, you might not be able to reach the floor, so you can put your hips right back down on the floor. If you are in a block, you want to keep the knees unlocked. That can buckle back easily. So lift up. Drawing one arm overhead, I won't say which one, but one arm overhead, both hip bones are grounded. So anchor, especially the hip of the lifted arm, because it's going to want to follow the arm, but let's keep it grounded. And then bring the arm across. Here we are twisting again. And bringing your back hand close to your hip. If you're on the floor, you can even put it on your hip, on your pelvic rim, and roll that back shoulder open. Okay, lots of space across the chest. Pushing down the hip, lift the heart. And then we're turning from the ribs as you keep your hips grounded and look over your shoulder. So again, here's where you can pulsate a little bit and just really massage into your neck, your back, your inner body. Hand might be at the floor. One more breath. Take your eyes towards your back. You even feel the stretch in your eye muscles. And then bring the head around first, turning the neck, and then turning the torso, placing the feet on the floor, hold the shins, and gently round. Rise up again, straighten the legs, push down to lift up, take the opposite hand around, back hand on the hip or the floor or even another block if you need that support, and then turn from the navel through the low ribs, chest, roll that back shoulder back, especially if it's on your hip. And then again, be very aware of what's happening in the neck, right? So turn it comfortably. This is quite strengthening for the neck when you move up against that point of resistance. One more breath here. Soft eyes. Head comes around first. Then the shoulders. Then the feet. Okay, if you're on a block, let's remove it, but have it handy. Come towards the short edge of your mat. And we're going to slowly lay down. So however you'd like to get there, vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae. Step the feet shoulder width apart, heels under the knees. You want to get a sense that you can press all four corners of your feet evenly into the ground. Then, robot arms. Let's pull the shoulder blades together. avoid pulling your arm bones down. You want to really lift the chest. Okay, press into the arms and the feet evenly. Can you find that sense of all four corners, shoulders and feet grounded? And then as you lift the chest as the hips follow. Lift, and you're going to touch down just on the sacrum. You're still in a little back bend, and then rise again. So inhale, coming down. Exhale, squeeze it up. Inhale, release. Strengthening those paraspinal muscles. This is going to help us be more balanced in our core, right? We want to be strong around our midline. That's what helps us feel grounded. That's our center. So our physical center, when we create strength around our physical center, it helps us stay mentally and emotionally centered. Right? We feel strong and supported. We're going to be more present. We're going to move away from fear and worry and anxiety and move into confidence, okay? Trust, courage. Let's hold the pose now. So come up, press into the heels. You can wake up your glutes a little, but make sure your knees are straight ahead. Maybe walk your elbows in a little more. Perhaps grab the edges of your mat and pull out to further lift the chest. Let's press the head into the floor so your chin comes away from your throat rather than into your throat. This is also a strengthener for the neck muscles, a gentle press in the back of the head. Shoulder blades squeezing in. And a little softening the groin, so you don't need to push up through your pubic bone. That'll lock the sacrum. We want to keep it, come and jiggle your hips a little. So yes, we're sustaining that hold. Let's take the arms back to robot. Spread the shoulder blades and roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. See if you can come down one vertebrae at a time. Reach your arms down towards your feet. Now this time take the arms overhead. Let the hips come up. Reach overhead as far as you can. And then take them back down. As you roll down vertebrae by vertebrae, let your hands touch ground the same time as your sacrum. Let's do that a couple times. So tuck and roll a bit. Inhale. Hands touch overhead with that final lift of the spine. And then roll across the back body like a little massage down the spine. One more time. Take it up. We're going to keep the arms overhead. You might have to take them wider for your shoulders, but reach up. And then as you take your spine down, keep reaching your arms so you're stretching in two directions. Relax. Roll the hips up again. So reach strongly through the arms. Keeping the arms reaching overhead. Stretch your arms overhead as your spine comes down, one vertebrae at a time. Let your hips rest. Take the arms overhead. Release. Now bend your elbows 90 degrees and bring your elbows up across from your shoulders. And then take one hand up and one down. So you're rotating from your upper arm bone. And then you're going to reverse it. Okay, so your elbows are out straight from your shoulders and you're just rolling on your upper arm bone to go into the shoulder girdle. And now your head gets involved. So you're going to turn your head towards the lifted hand. So you can see that thumb up next to your head. And then you're going to roll your head to the other side. And you're going to give yourself a little stretch in your neck, the side you're moving away from. Couple more times. Last one on either side. Come to center. Draw your arms back in and down. And then grab your block. Okay? And as you press into the feet and the shoulders again. We're going to lift the hips and place the block right underneath the sacrum, right above the tailbone. The lowest level is fine. You don't need to bring it up too high. Okay. Get your shoulders relaxed and then take one leg up and stretch it to the sky. And just push as if your foot is going to push into the ceiling. So feel that lengthening and then hug the muscle to the bone and feel your hip grounding onto the block. So even though you're lengthening the leg, you want to keep both hips grounded. Make sure your block's in the right place. Just stretch it up. Your leg might be out here to be straight, but you're squeezing the front of the leg to open the back. If you point your toes, you're going to get more stretch in the front. If you flex hard, see if you can find the evenness on the front, back, and sides of the leg. So all four corners of the feet are engaged. And then you might start to bend the knee to get it closer so you can get your fingertips around it and you bring it in and give a nice stretch. So again, the bend of your knee is up to your hamstring. Hips stay grounded as you draw it up and give it a stretch. Some of you might end up higher on the leg, whatever's comfortable. Now let's rotate the ankle, staying at the stretch point in the leg. Other direction. Spread the toes, bend the knee, and take the ankle to the opposite leg and open the hip. Give it a little push if you can. Just notice what you feel, just opening through that hip. And then release it down to the ground and stretch it all the way out and away from you. So now you're opening the front of the hip. You may take your arms to the side or overhead. Find out what feels good. And let's take 5 deep, active cleansing breaths. So exhale completely and then inhale all the way. Fill the capacity of your lungs. Stretch open through that front thigh as you exhale. Fill up as you inhale. Last time. Then inhale, draw the foot back to the floor. And let go. Arms come back down. Take the other leg up, stretch it towards the sky. So if you need to move it a little bit away, but use the muscles of your legs. See if you can really hug the quadricep to straighten the hamstring. Stretch to the sole of your foot. Notice if there's more stretch in the front of the leg or the back and try and even it out. Bring this up as far as you can to get that stretch. Slight bend is fine. Breathe. Like your foot's going to push into the ceiling. And then start to bring it a little closer. Let the knee bend enough to bring it up. Some of you could keep it straight. Hip grounded. Breathe into that leg and be thankful for how much steadiness it brings you, the strength of your legs holding you strong on the earth. Staying underneath you when you're upright. And then take the bend the knee and place the ankle on the thigh. Roll it open to open the hip joint. Maybe rock a little right to left. So meanwhile, with the hips on the block, we're getting this inversion, right? Maybe you're noticing that. The pelvis is up higher than the heart. This shifts the organs gently in your belly and your thoracic cavity. And then we're going to release the knee, stretch it out, take it all the way out. Now we open the front of the hip. You could take it slightly out to the side, arms wherever they're comfortable, and 5 deep cleansing breaths. You could, of course, breathe out through the nose if you prefer. Really push it out empty. One more breath. Bring the leg up, arms come down by your side. Pushing into the feet and the shoulders, unweight the hips, release the block from underneath you, roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. It's a long time on the block. Let's bring the knees up. Just give a hug, swirl it around in ways that feel good to you. If the block feels too hard to you, you could always use a bolster instead in that position, but it's really good to get the hips above the heart. Let's take the feet down, shoulder width apart, open the arms up, take a little side twist, little double knee drop. Top leg comes up, bottom leg follows. Head rolls opposite. So give that upper body a little movement too. Make sure the shoulder blades are down your back. Your biceps and palms are facing the sky. Move into that little twist, maybe pushing a little bit with the foot on the floor. Relax and roll. And considering your Shavasana today. Oh, I was going to give you Yoga Nidra this week. I forgot. I'll write that down for next week. So you might want to put a little bolster or a big bolster under your knees. Straighten the legs out. And then maybe take your hands to your head and really stretch to the neck. Bring the head off the ground. Lengthening the neck, placing the head down, and then adjusting the shoulder blades on your back. Either turning the palms up by your side or one palm on the heart, one palm on the belly. And letting the full weight of your body sink into the floor. If it's chilly, like it is in my house, because I forgot to turn the heat on, you can cover yourself. It's also just nice to have a cover lift just over your torso, because the weight of the blanket, or if you have sandbags, that weight on the body calms the nervous system. Like swaddling a crying child calms the babe. We can calm ourselves down by kind of doing a little swaddle. Wrap yourself up. Relax the weight of the head on the floor. I hope you're joining me. Close the eyes. And let's acknowledge, first of all, acknowledge our precious human body and the strength that is present in each one of you, in each one of us. Be aware of the strength that you do have, the ability of standing gracefully upon your own 2 feet, of moving with a sense of courage. Feel that connection you've created through your movement, the parts of you all working together, the alignment of your bones, the strength and fluidity of your muscles, the mobility in your joints, and the communication between all those systems within. Your respiratory system, your digestive system, your circulatory system, your endocrine system. All these systems working together, your nervous system, all communicating, sustaining equilibrium, equanimity within. Let's bask in that glow of connection. Let your breath flow naturally now. Just trust your body to breathe itself. And absorb the prana that you've awakened. Let that life force flood every cell in your being. Where can you let go a little bit more? Surrender here for the next minute or so. We have time. This is your time. Your time to deeply connect to that center of you, your core strength, your core truth, your core beliefs, core expression of your unique personality. Envision yourself moving through this day, allowing your breath to continually bring you back home to that core of your being, operating from that place of centeredness. Enjoy your last few breaths, again acknowledging that center. This is your place of resilience where we're connected inwardly. We can feel the resilience of our own energy body and how we respond to the ever-changing world around us. And through that resistance, through that resilience, we can manifest that ability to be adaptable. Right? Staying strong in who we are and adapting to the current and constant changes of life around us. So let's take a deep breath in again and maybe stretch your arms out to the side or overhead. As you exhale, aware and affirming that center core of your being, your strength, your courage, your resilience. Take your time transitioning. Let's meet in a comfortable seat. And as we bring our palms together in Anjali Mudra, be aware of all we have to be thankful for, the many blessings of our health and our well-being that are currently present in us, holding us strong. Set your intention for who and how you want to be today. And thank you so much for gathering and sharing this practice. Namaste. Yay.